Hi there, and welcome to the activity Create Your Own Adventure Game. This 16-hour activity is an introduction to coding using Scratch, an online and free coding tool with blocks designed for beginner levels in coding. This complete activity is relevant to young people between 11 and 16 years old, girls, boys, and non-binary, from middle to high school students. This activity can also be implemented in the last years of primary school with an adaptation of the activity difficulty and the level of guidance. It is better to implement this format in half classes, around 12 students, divided in groups of 2, 4 to 6 group maximum, in order to be able to interact with each group and ensure continuous follow-up and support during the activity. You will need computers or tablets with internet connection to be able to access the tool. We developed this activity with the ambition of developing both the STEM and non-technical skills of learners by fostering creativity and reflective thinking while teaching computer programming and computational thinking. Creating a game on Scratch is also more engaging than a traditional math class, which may counteract the fear many girls still have towards the subject and inspire learning to explore and enhance their STEM skills. This progressive and project-based activity can also enhance group motivation and problem-solving while learning algorithmic thinking. They will also boost their creativity through storytelling and creating all of the game's visuals. We believe this activity addresses unmotivated and struggling learners through a game-based and experiential learning approach. It, in fact, borrows certain gaming principles and applies them to real-life settings to engage and enhance the motivation of the student. It encourages creativity and students to learn from their mistakes by creating their own story in game. Let's move on to the format's content, starting with an introduction to the coding tool Scratch by creating a simple video game. You can find the detailed step-by-step guide to help you create a game on Scratch in the additional documents available in this format. This 4-hour activity will help the students dive into algorithmic logic and programming with blocks. The game they will create is basic in terms of gameplay and is similar to already existing old-school games. It will be a character that can move from left to right to avoid enemies that will make the player lose points. Students will be free to use the character and backgrounds they want to let them decide on their own video game logic. Once this little game has been coded, the students will be more at ease with the tool and its functions, as well as with certain game features. The second session of 4 hours is dedicated to the creation of their own adventure game. They will produce a short story or a chapter of a story with different choices and consequences. If you are organizing this with a small group of maximum 6, you can also create a fun and wacky story by using the exquisite corpse method, by which a collection of words is collectively assembled. It is a small game in which each participant takes turns writing or drawing on a sheet of paper, folding it to conceal his or her contribution, and then passing it to the next player for a further contribution. In the end, you will have a very funny and sometimes nonsense story that you will be able to fine-tune with the kids. They will also have to design the game using online tools or find free unlicensed images online, or again, draw on a paper and scan it to have a digital version. They will be introduced to the concept of decision trees to help them structure their stories, with notions of choice to make to have a consequence on the continuation of the story. They will also have the possibility to use online tools to create the design of their game, such as AutoDraw, which is a free drawing tool pairing with machine learning that help people create something visual very fast. Or again, use another online tool called Pixel Art for a more retro design. They will be able to create something from scratch or use already existing free templates. In the third section, you will help the kids bring their story to life by transforming it from paper to digital format as an online video game on Scratch, with movements, animation, different backgrounds, and automatization of the consequences based on the choice of the player. This part doesn't take the form of a step by step exercise, as you and the kids will have to adapt the code to your or their own stories. In coding, there will be different ways of creating a code that have approximately the same result in the end. The last session is dedicated to finalizing and fine tuning the game, playing it before presenting it. Once they all have a functional game, they can make sure that all the functionalities are working and that there are no bugs. The final step of the activity is to present their story by playing a demo of their game in front of the class or the other groups and explaining their story, their choices, and decision tree. We don't want the kids to have a perfect code or a perfect story with beautiful visuals, but to understand the notions of problem solving as well as algorithmic thinking and to express their creativity in a fun way. An example of a working adventure game, The Mountain Citadel, with the complete and more complex code is available in this format for reference. You will also be able to find in the guide the explanations of some useful functionalities to use. This complete activity will activate several skills and competencies. It can indeed be linked to mathematics or literature topics, but can also be used as a complementary activity to develop logic, literacy, storytelling, and social skills. The students will be able to enhance their STEM skills, especially understanding the concept of algorithm and the underlying notions such as action, instruction, sequence, loop, conditional structure, breaking down a problem into simpler subproblems, working on logic and mathematical skills, understanding the concept of a decision tree. They will also enhance their digital skills by practicing the use of a computer and a coding software. Regarding the literacy skills, they will have the opportunity to understand the notion of languages, natural language, computer language, as a coding system, as a communication tool, as a thinking tool, and therefore the existence and usefulness of a multiplicity of languages. They will also enhance their storytelling capabilities by making them create an adventure, a story, based on their own imagination and with few rules imposed. Finally, they will enrich their personal, social, and learning to learn competencies as they will learn and boost their confidence by progressing step by step and with self correction, and enhance their creativity and teamwork by creating a story from scratch with other students. This format has been implemented in Luxembourg successfully with students aged between 10 and 12. It was very positively received by the kids who had a lot of fun creating a funny adventure story. This activity made them more eager and at ease to use computers to code, not just play games, and fostered their interest in the digital fields. And now it's your turn. Create your own adventure game.